At the end of the music video for 2000 Excursion, we see Travis Scott doing a burnout while moving forward along the road in what looks like a customized Ford 2000 Excursion, which is what the song is named after. I was one of the first people on the internet to make a video saying how mid that song is. Do I regret making that video? Absolutely not. This song has no direction, it uses one of Kanye West's best songs of all time and completely wastes the sample because the bulk of the song's duration is taken up by Travis Scott and Sheck West rapping over a bland trap beat. It's almost as if the car doing a burnout along the road is a motif that symbolizes how directionless the song is. And at the end of my singles review, I said that I hope this will be the worst song on the album because Travis Scott doesn't have the best track record when it comes to picking out the best songs on his album as his singles ever since Birds in the Trap. But with Jackboys 2, I could not have been more wrong with my prediction. 2000 Excursion, despite how mediocre the song sounds, is probably one of the best songs on the album. And after hearing Jackboys 2 multiple times before making this review, I started questioning myself why I was even excited for this in the first place. To rip off the band-aid, Jackboys 2 is the worst project ever attached to Travis Scott's name. The closest contender to holding that title for me is Al Faro, but at least that tape has upper echelon. Jackboys 2 does not have a single song where I don't have some problems with. There could be something small that I don't like, but I could try my best to overlook them, or they could be mistakes or artistic decisions so blatantly awful that I can't listen to it at all. The latter is true for the first real song on the album, Champagne and Vacay. It's got Travis Scott and Don Toliver. Both are doing the backdropping of this song just fine. The build up using auto-tune and the transition to Travis Scott rapping vigorously is great. The bars he throws on this song is kind of mixed. In one moment, he talks about how he wants to bring a Grammys to Missouri City, which, contrary to his name, is actually a Houston suburb where Travis grew up. But then right after that, he says, soon as she sees me, she opens her throat, call her Little Caesar, she's hot, ready to go. Is this like an unintentional nod to Chaperone's Hot to Go? I'm actually taken aback at how Travis Scott actually responded to Pusha T. That's another thing I was wrong about. I said that he didn't need to respond to Pusha T because everyone knows he can't. But this is what the Bacteria Man had to say. Walked in LV, 10 chains, feeling like a dude just walked in 10 deep. I swear these old people kill me. Blue Bugatti, I'm dodging TMZ. Made $100 pushing T's, now my phone on D&D. Make fun of his lukewarm response to Pusha T, someone who can literally eviscerate this man if he wanted to. But I forgot to mention that there is a third individual on this song, and that's Waka Flocka Flame. His job on Champagne and Vacay is to basically shout and spam these annoying ass ad-libs throughout the track, and it's so ostentatious, it's driving me nuts. His ad-libs sound like they were for another song due to how out of place he sounds on this track. The only thing Waka Flocka Flame killed on this song is my mood, because if you remove him from the song, Champagne and Vacay is easily the best track on the album. Jackboys 2 doesn't pick up any momentum either on the song Kickout, which is a song that apparently many Travis fans were really excited for. I don't know what's to be excited about this track because in the hook of Kickout, Travis comes in sounding like he got 2 hours of sleep and recorded his verse in a tunnel. Yet for some reason his voice is like really deep. It's like how people immediately talk after a yawn. The beat switch tries to pick the pace up of this sluggish song, but it's a too little too late adjustment. If you wanted this track to sound good in the first place, maybe you should have went to Starbucks and grabbed some coffee before you hit the studio. Also, 21 Savage is on the song, but just like Waka Flocka Flame, he's only ad-libbing for Travis. Unlike Waka Flocka Flame though, his ad-libs sound listenable, but usually in a song where he's doing so, chances are he's gonna rap at some point. But no, I guess Travis Scott really wanted to blue ball his fans because we are just left with this half-assed feature. The song itself doesn't even sound finished either. It just feels like 2 incomplete songs spliced together. After this is what I consider to be the best song on the album, Dumbo. It does sound like a Utopia leftover, but I still think it's one of the more standout tracks on the album for a good reason. It has my favorite instrumental on the album. The refrain of this song is drenched in reverb, but it serves as a nice contrast between the rest of Dumbo. Travis, while not giving you the most energized performance on this track, does strike a somewhat engaging flow. After Dumbo is the first song not featuring Travis Scott with the exception of the intro, MM3 featuring Sofago. I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag. Me personally, I'm not the biggest Sofago fan in the world, but he has some songs I like, and I feel like MM3 is a very middle of the road song for him. And that's the problem. I think Sofago should capitalize this opportunity by dropping a more standout song for Jackboys 2. Fago, for the past few years, hasn't gained a lot of attention with his music because well, he just doesn't release a lot of music. In this day and age where the music industry is moving this fast, if you haven't built up a decently sized fan base that are waiting for you to make music, you're not gonna blow up. And so Fago is one of those individuals where he has some songs go crazy on TikTok like Knock Knock, but failed to drop his debut album to capitalize off of the hype, and by the time he did release Pink Hearts, it was too little too late. So when given the chance to finally be offered the opportunity to do something with Travis Scott and the rest of the Jackboys, that's gonna expose him to a wider audience far bigger than his own. And I feel like he should have put out the best song he has in his vault. And if MM3 is the best he got, I'm sorry, this song just doesn't have any interesting qualities. It's not gonna cut it for me. The other track featuring Sofego is the song Contest, this time featuring Travis Scott himself. And I think this one's a tad better. The synth leads and the 808s remind me of something off of Trippie Redd's Trip at Night, a retro video game sounding track that should have been a highlight off of Jackboys 2, except it's not, because what in the actual fuck is the mixing on this song? There is a clear audible difference in volume between Travis Scott's verse and Sofego's verse. I can barely hear what Fego has to say due to how buried he is in the mix. Yeah, the first collab between Travis and Fego turned out to be an underwhelming one. Mixing is unfortunately an issue on the song Velour. I don't even know what to make out of this track other than saying that it just sounded like noise. Don Toliver was the most standout person on the first Jackboys album, but the same thing cannot be said here. And Sheck West, this dude is a shell of himself. He deadass sounds like he's just over it. He's done with making music. Throughout the album, he is clearly the most uninterested Jackboy on Jackboys 2 because all of his features sound like he's just meandering. I mean, on the song I Love My Bitch, Sheck West delivers the most pretentious, unenthused, mind-numbing hook on the album. I love my bitch, I love my bitch, I love my bitch, I love. The hook alone just makes me want to turn this shit off. Continuing along the track list, we get to the last listenable song on the album because after Where Was You, it's all downhill from here. Excuse the poor grammar in this song title. This track has Travis Scott, Playboi Carti, and Future in it, and somehow it's one of the biggest letdowns on the album. Filthy cooks up this simple banjo Fruit Ninja beat in the back as Carti and Future both deliver really weak performances, and it doesn't help that this song gets really stale by the time we get to the halfway mark due to a lack of anything captivating going on, but even this track is massively superior to the rest of the material on Jackboys 2. Now we get to No Comments, and this is the point where, just like Travis said on 2000 Excursion, he just doesn't give a fuck anymore. No Comments is probably the worst solo Don Toliver track I've ever heard. It really sounded like he was trying to mimic Daft Punk. I'm not kidding, this horrendous goofy auto-tune really gives off Daft Punk vibes, and not in the good way. It's a short 2-minute track of just pure dog shit. Beep Beep is just another boring song. The beat, basic, Travis's flow, lethargic. Really the only thing that has some soul in that song is that sub-baby verse. It like momentarily snapped me out of a trance and made me realize that the song was still playing in the back. And this project just keeps on getting worse with PBT. I have no interest on knowing what it stands for because this track is arguably the worst song on the album. It's Travis Scott looking up to Drake making these terrible Jamaican Afro hip-hop fusions and be like, I want to do that as well. So he recruits Tyla as well as Vybz Kartel on this song, only for this to come out as painfully generic. I didn't mind the Tyla verse all that much. I thought she did fine on that track, but as soon as the song gets interrupted by air horns that sound like they were from a meme com back in the 2010s, all hell broke loose as Vybz Kartel drops not only the worst feature on this album, but the worst feature of 2025. This went from a sensual dance song that's not really all that sensual to an over-the-top, nonsensical, I don't even know how to describe it, just read the fucking lyrics of this man's feature. This is the first time I've heard Vybz Kartel, and I pray to God that this is also the last. I don't know if it's racist to say that I hate someone's accent, but I'ma say it. I hate. Nonsensical is also an accurate description of the next song, Shine. You know, when the first verse of a song is I done lost some Flintstones making bedrock, I knew we were in for something spectacularly bad. And I was absolutely right.
Shut the fuck up! Shut up!
How high do you have to be to say to yourself, yes, I want my audience to hear me do my best Globagalab impression? On Champagne and Vacay, Travis talks about how these YNs want the real me. Is this the real me the YNs are talking about? Having you spit the worst hook in your entire career? Oh, well, you're just interpolating Barrington Levy. You just don't see the artistic direction. I've said this before in my reviews, and I will say it again. Just because you can't do something doesn't mean you should. Drop this on April Fools, not on a Jackboys album. To wrap the ending of this album off, outside is Travis doing a Duke Dennis impression and putting on a horrible deep voice filter and basically allowing Youngboy to say anything on this track and still sound better than him. Doesn't he already have a song called Outside off of Birds? Can't Stop is an ironic title to the next track because if Travis Scott had any dignity for this project, he should have stopped this project since track 10. And to be honest, he should have stopped this shit after track 5. This man Wally the Sensei really started his verse with Hey, I'm Wally the Sensei. If that's not the definition of pitiful, then I don't know what is. And Florida Flow is just 5 minutes of bullshit. bullshit. Travis can't decide on which flow to use and ends up taking a dump on all of them. The Kodak feature is forgettable. This song just reminds me of how much time I've wasted listening to this bullshit. Overall, Jackboys 2 fails on all fronts to be a good label project, and I think this boils down to these key issues. The first is that the Jackboys, despite being together for so long, have no identity. They're just a bunch of people making songs together without any chemistry. You get Don Toliver, Sheck West, and Travis Scott all on the same song, and the end result is 3 people who sounded like they made their contributions to the song individually and just had someone master them all together. No member from the Jackboys builds off any sound off of each other. They just seem like they were doing the song with each other because Travis told them to do so. It's like when your parents tell you to vacuum the floor when you don't want to. You just start vacuuming without giving a thought as to how well you're cleaning the carpet. You're just doing it to meet your parents' demands. Nothing is special about the Jackboys. They're just 6 people being forced to work with each other and creating a bland album as a result of it. Nothing is special about the Jackboys. They're just 6 people being forced to work with each other and creating a bland album as a result of it. The second major criticism I have for this record is specifically directed at Bacteria Man himself. Travis Scott really has lost it when it comes to his curation skills. Him putting up a great feature roster and bringing the best out of everyone in each song, it's that attribute about him that makes Travis Scott an appealing artist. It's not necessarily what he says on a song, it's about how he makes a song. He has an ear for production choices. He's willing to take risks at times and experiment boldly. If you take all those positive attributes away from Travis, he's nothing. He just becomes a generic trap artist that has nothing special separating him against other contemporary artists. The third, and this is probably the most exasperating part of this whole album, is that Travis Scott has finally realized that he can just release whatever and his fans are still gonna listen to it. Why go out of your way and spend effort on making something when you could just make this and get similar results? Technically, this isn't under Travis Scott's name, so you can't really say that Travis Scott dropped his first bad album. Except, there were too many songs that only had Travis, and not enough moments where he let his other Jackboys shine. Probably because they also didn't give a fuck as to how this sounded. This entire album comes off to me as a place where each Jackboys artist could just upload their cutting room floor material to. It's an album full of leftovers, and it makes the short Jackboys 1 album sound like it actually had some purpose. Final rating, I'm giving this thing a 2 to a 3 out of...